Hello everyone, I'm Ron Poniewasz, Newcastle News Sports Editor. We are working on our final season projects here at the Newcastle News, most specifically the Athlete of the Year boys and girls candidates. For the girls candidates, those will appear in the July 18th edition. The following 12 student athletes are Athlete of the Year candidates. Numerical order: Tori Atkins of Laurel, Kelly Cleaver of Union, Contessa Cautalesi of Laurel, Sophia Cavelli of Neshannock, Kylie Frustorfer of Union, Addie Fry of Neshannock, Maya Jekovic of Wilmington, Leah Crayrup of Wilmington, Jaden Nogue of Neshannock, Mia Pruse of Union, Ellie Whippo of Mohawk, and finally Erica Young, also of Mohawk. The boys candidates will be released to the paper July 19th. The boys candidates are, again, in alphabetical order: Anthony Bonner of Neshannock, Colton Kreiser of Elwood City, Lincoln, Bobby Fadden of Mohawk, Colton Fedrizzi of Shenango, Jaden Kirkwood of Newcastle, Brody McQuiston of Shenango, Ben Miller of Wilmington, Joseph Roth, Elwood City, Lincoln, Jackson Shodell of Mohawk, Lucas Stanley, Union, Braylon Thomas, Union, and Jay Rona of Mohawk. The Athlete of the Year winners will appear in the July 20th edition, and be sure to watch a short segment joined by Larry Kelly, a member of the Luxembourg Garbett Kelly and George law firm, as he joins me and we highlight some of our Athlete of the Year candidates, boys and girls. Thank you, everybody. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NC Sports on our YouTube channel, on our ncnewsonline.com webpage. I'm Ron Poniewasz. He's Larry Kelly. We are your gridiron and tip-off team, and we are coming to you in the middle of the summer, and we're talking Athletes of the Year candidates. Larry, good to see you.
Well, I asked you off the air if you missed me. Do you want to respond to that question now? Because you haven't seen me in 3 months.
Yeah,
you want to respond now?
Yeah, I'll probably say, yeah, like a rash. Hey, you wanted
and, we are the award-winning tip-off and gridiron show, are we not?
We are. Yeah, we won a second place award for the Keystone Awards. So we have climbed back from honorable mention to second place. So
no, but we've been second place 3 times now.
Yeah, but last year we were honorable mention.
Last year we were honorable, but we had 2 prior. Listen, I'm blaming the director of the groove ship. If he can't get us over the edge, because it certainly isn't the talent, it has to be the production. So if we don't get first place next year, we might have to replace him, Lonnie. We might have to find a new producer, a new director of the groove ship.
That's on you. I'll put that on you. So
all right.
So okay. Larry Kelly is a member of the Luxembourg Garbett Kelly and George law firm, and he's an assistant baseball coach for Penn State Shenango. How did that go this year, Larry?
Oh, we had a great team. We finished 18-12, and we were playing, because it was a first-year program, with all freshmen and sophomores. We had 1 junior that was a regular on the team, actually 2, and everybody else were freshmen and sophomores. Everybody's coming back. We got a couple pitchers who were injured last year who were coming back healthy. We're going to be loaded, Ronnie. We're going to be loaded. Now, it's all about the players. I'll be the first to tell you that. So we ought to be pretty good next year, and it'll have nothing to do with me, but we should be pretty good.
Okay. All right. So again, what we are doing here is we're going to highlight a few boys and a few girls that are going to be Athlete of the Year candidates. Again, candidates. We have highlighted or we have selected 12 girls candidates and 12 boys candidates. And what we will do for our purpose here on this show is pick out 6 girls that we'll talk about, highlight them, and that leaves you to figure out who the other 6 are. And then for boys, the same thing. We will talk about 6 boys candidates, and that will leave everybody wondering who the other 6 boys are. So first off, in this segment, we are going to talk girls. Were you going to say something, Larry?
Well, I was going to say, look, before we went on the air here, you know, we talked about some of these candidates just to be mentioned in the top 12 in Lawrence County is really a feat, because we've had some accomplished men and women this past year, and their recognition, not only locally, but in the WPIAL and at the state level, was exceptional. So it's a good group, and whoever the selected winner is will be really well deserved.
Yeah, trust me, when you pick out 12 student athletes, it never happens where you're just trying to fill out the 12. You always have a list of people, and you're like, okay, here's the field that we have, and now let's try and group them down a little bit. So it never happens where you're just trying to fill out the roster and throwing people on there by any stretch.
And it's going to, I don't have a vote in this, but you guys that do, this is going to be a really difficult choice, because, the difference between these candidates is really, really small. These are some great athletes. So let's talk about them. Who are the girls? Right. Who are the women we're going to talk about?
Some of the girls we will talk about. First off, let's talk about Tori Atkins, Laurel. She was a two-sport star, rather, volleyball and track and field for the Lady Spartans. Larry, a very strong student athlete. Very, very accomplished in the sports that she plays, volleyball and track and field.
I met that young woman at the Lawrence County Sports Hall of Fame this past year, because I believe she was the Newcastle News Athlete of the Year, Female Athlete of the Year last year. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, she won gold in the 400 meter, both in the WPIAL and the state championship. She's a tremendous athlete. And not only is she a tremendous athlete, she's a tremendous student athlete, as most of these women are. She'll have a bright future wherever she chooses to go.
Right. Okay. Union's Kelly Cleaver, and she played volleyball and basketball. And Larry, she was a star in both of them. Excelled for the Lady Scots in volleyball, certainly had a big time effect on the girls basketball team that won a WPIAL championship.
Yeah, to quote Reggie Jackson, she was probably the straw that stirred the drink on that WPIAL women's basketball team at Union. She did it all for them. She rebounded, she scored, she defended. She has had a great career at Union High School.
Yeah, they fell a little bit short in winning a second straight PIAA championship in basketball, but nonetheless, they had quite a run to a district gold, and in a run through the state playoffs again for basketball. How about Neshannock's Addie Fry? Softball is her sport, and she excels like no other in softball.
Well, WPIAL and state championship 2 years in a row. I think she hits cleanup and is the pitcher, and is going D1 to Providence. So that speaks volumes about the type of athlete that she is and what she meant to women's softball at Neshannock. My daughters played fast pitch women's softball, and it's all about the pitcher, and Neshannock had the best.
Yeah, that team is loaded with talent all through the lineup for sure. Jaden Nogue, another teammate of Addie Fry's. Jaden Nogue for Neshannock. She played 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, and softball. She was a key component on that WPIAL and PIAA championship team for Neshannock for softball, and a key piece of that girls basketball team too.
The name Nogue in Lawrence County is royalty. Not only her sisters, her dad, her grandfather. It goes way back. That's great. Those are great bloodlines and great lineage. And she followed in the same line as her sisters who played at Neshannock and won championships there. So congratulations to her.
Mia Pruz of Union. She played basketball and softball, and she's right up there with like Addie Fry, in terms of softball. A great pitcher for Union, gets it done for the Class 1A Lady Scots. They had a really good softball season, silver medal in softball, and I believe it was a one and done in the state playoffs in terms of softball. But hey, what a season for Mia Pruz.
How about, if I'm not mistaken, 14 rebounds in the WPIAL championship game? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Listen to me. Those rebounds are like gold in those games. And I don't know if she had 14, but she had a boatload of them. That's all I remember.
And you know what? It wasn't even the volume of them. It was one that she had at a key moment at the end of regulation that kept the possession alive, and I think tied that game and sent it to overtime. So she had the key rebound in that spot.
I always said that rebounds in the fourth quarter of a WPIAL championship game is a test. If you're a man, it's a test of your manhood. And if you're a woman, it's a test of your womanhood. I remember Donnie Cade, the last year I coached at Newcastle. I know he had 14 in the WPIAL championship game against, help me, Ronnie, the Chartiers Valley. Chartiers
Okay.
Valley. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I love rebounds. As a former basketball coach, I love rebounds.
Okay. And the last girl we'll touch on is the only person out of this group that we mentioned to participate in four varsity sports, Ellie Whippo from Mohawk: cross country, soccer, basketball, and track and field for Ellie Whippo. And quite the accomplishments in cross country. She helped the cross country team win a WPIAL gold medal, team gold medal. And the track and field, she was gold in the 300 and 100 hurdle events at the WPIAL championship.
Yeah, a lot of gold medals in her closet. And to play four sports in high school with the specialty involved in athletics today is not easy. So I will tip my hat to her.
Those are six of the girls candidates that we have. A little teaser for you, and those candidate capsules will appear in the Thursday, July 18th edition of the Newcastle News Sports Edition. That's being compiled by Cody Pattison, and we'll come back for one more segment here, and then we'll touch on the boys athletes of the year candidates. So we'll do that next right here.
We all know there's an advantage to being the home team, to playing at home. And at LGKG, we have been your home team for personal injury cases involving automobile accidents and workers' compensation claims for over 90 years. At LGKG, over 10,000 clients have trusted us to represent them. We know how to present your case to a Western Pennsylvania jury. We know what makes them tick. We know how to win.
Okay, we're back with you to talk the boys candidates for athletes of the year. Same format. We'll give you 6 random student athletes that have earned a spot as a candidate for this year's athlete of the year candidate. These capsules will run in the Friday, July 19th edition of the Newcastle News. Let's start off with Mohawk's Bobby Fadden, 3-sport athlete for Mohawk: football, basketball, and baseball. You know, the baseball team, Larry, since you follow baseball around the county, they won 16 games this year. They looked like they had a really good shot to win a section title. They were going into the final mini series against Riverside with a 1-game lead over Riverside, a split. They get the section title. Riverside had to sweep them to get the section title, and that's exactly what Riverside did. They won both games and pushed Mohawk to second place.
Well, first and foremost, I'll say there aren't many coaches that have a winning record against Coach Uliastro, but I know one that has one. I can think of one right now that has a winning record against Coach O. But that doesn't – but losing to Riverside this year does not taint the season that Bobby Fadden had. This young man's a 10th grader. He already has over 1,000 points in hoops. He's a tremendous wide receiver in football. He's a great baseball player. He'll be a 2,000-point scorer before his career is over, and well-deserving of mention as an athlete of the year. And he's a sophomore. Going into his junior year.
Let's talk about Shenango's Brody McQuiston. Played basketball and track and field for the Shenango Wildcats. For track and field, he helped the team to a second-place team standing at the Tri-County Championship. In basketball, he was a first-team All-Section nominee and also for Brody McQuiston. He went over 1,000 points this year for his career.
Yeah, Brody's a beast. He did it all for the Wildcats. He rebounded, he scored. There were times he ran the point. He's a basketball player, and look, he had the long arms. I wanted him to come and pitch for me. My last year I was at Shenango. I think if he picked up a baseball, he'd be pretty good at that too. Yeah, Brody's going to play in college, and he will continue to be a very productive player at the next level.
Sure. Okay, Joseph Roth from Elwood City, Lincoln. He played 3 sports: basketball, swimming, excuse me, which is not a varsity sport around the county. However, he swam for Riverside via co-op program, and baseball. So very, very talented in all 3 sports. Certainly the ones that you'll think of are basketball and swimming.
Well, in basketball, he scored over 2,000 points. There aren't many people in our county that have scored over 2,000 points. But as I've always said this, as good of a basketball player as he is, he's even a better swimmer. He's recognized in the WPIAL and statewide. He's going to Indiana University, I believe, in Bloomington, Indiana. This young man may swim in the Olympics one of these days. That's how good he is.
I thought he was going to Ohio State.
You may be right. No, I take that back. I think you're right, Ronnie. I think you're right. He's going to Ohio State. I know that when I had talked to his family at one point, he was looking at the University of Indiana. But the last time I spoke with him, you're right. He's going to Ohio State. He's going to be a Buckeye.
Yeah. And you know what? As good of a basketball player as he is, I don't know that he'll try it, but it wouldn't surprise me if he could walk onto that team and contribute a little bit, even a little bit. But again, such a great swimmer that, I think swimming is where it's going to be for him in collegiately.
When you have the God-given ability and the work ethic to swim in the Olympics, you don't play another sport. He's going to be a swimmer in college. And man, I can't wait to follow his career.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Jackson Shodell of Mohawk, cross country and track and field. In cross country, he won a championship, a district title in cross country. In track and field, also first in the 3,200 at the state level, and in the WPIL level, he was first in the 1,600 and the 3,200.
Yeah, my man has a boatload of gold medals too, both in the WPIAL and at the state level. The amount of time and training that is necessary to accomplish what he accomplished is really, really impressive. When I coach, I talk about being mentally tough and laser focused. And I don't know anybody that's more mentally tough than distance runners, because, you're training all the time. And when push comes to shove, you got to set that pain aside that you're feeling, to finish the race.
Here's another talented athlete, Braylon Thomas of Union. Football, basketball, and baseball, and certainly Kim Needball and Mark Stanley are going to have to find replacements for Braylon Thomas, and that's not going to be easy.
I'm not sure you can find a replacement for Braylon Thomas, not right away. This young man was special. I've seen him live in both football and in hoops, and especially in football. He dominated the game. He was a problem for the other team. A great athlete, a great quarterback. He's something special and not easily replaceable when you have an athlete like that.
Bigger void for Kim Needball to replace or Mark Stanley? I would think probably Kim Needball because of the quarterback.
Yeah, he was a good basketball player, but he was a great football player, and he played the quarterback position, and he did it all for Union. So, yeah, they're going to have a hard time finding his replacement, but Union always seems to find a way.
Sure. Okay, and lastly, let's touch on Jay Rona of Mohawk. He's our other four sport student athlete. We had Ellie Whippo of the girls from Mohawk, and we have Jay Rona from Mohawk, a 4-sport athlete from football, golf, basketball, and baseball.
I don't get a vote in this, and I'm glad I don't, because it would be a very difficult choice. but I'm not so sure Lawrence County has ever had a four-sport athlete who was so accomplished in all four sports as Jay Rona. He's a Division I baseball player. He's going to YSU the last I heard. And I know at Shenango, we could never get him out. The kid hit 500 every year. He was the quarterback on the football team and practically unstoppable. As a basketball player, I'm sure he averaged pretty close to 20 points a game. And if that wasn't enough, as a golfer, he might be he's a scratch golfer. So put all four of those together and you have something that I'm not so sure we've ever seen in this county. You've been around a long time. Have we ever had a four-sport athlete who has been as accomplished as Jay Rona in each one of those individual sports?
Yeah, we had this discussion, I think maybe at the end of the football season, maybe at the end of basketball. I named a couple kids that were three-sport athletes that were really good. Corey Collins. I think Terry Grossetti played. I know he played football. He played basketball. I want to say he did track and field. Don't hold me to that. But I can't think of a fourth sport for either of the two. And that's what your premise is, a four-sport athlete.
I mean, at the varsity level and highly accomplished at each one.
Mm-hmm.
And when you throw golf in there, oh my goodness gracious. He's golfing at the same time he's the quarterback for the football team. I think if he probably would have just played golf and nothing else and practiced golf and nothing else, he probably would have been a scratch golfer. Kid was special. I've seen him. I've watched him since he was in junior high. He's a special athlete and certainly deserving of recognition and consideration as the athlete of the year.
Yeah, and we've talked about this with Jay Rona during football season. Just imagine this: it's Monday or Tuesday, what have you, and Jay Rona is out on the golf course playing in a match or possibly the section final or whatever it would be. But his football team is trying to put in a game plan for Friday night when they play whomever, and he's golfing, but he's good enough cerebrally to pick up that game plan. And it wasn't just like, well, he played football and the team went 2-7 or 3-8 or whatever it was. No, they were a playoff team. He was awfully good. The team was awfully good, and he didn't skip a beat.
Oh yeah. And can you imagine if you're playing a football game on Friday night and a golf match on Saturday morning, your fingers may be smashed. They may be crooked. You may have bumps and bruises all over you. And then you go out and shoot 36. It's pretty impressive stuff.
Right. Okay, Larry, the baseball and softball all-stars for the county, they will run next week, Monday the 15th and Wednesday the 17th. Baseball is going to be the 17th, softball the 15th, and I am taking care of both of those. Cody Pattison is taking care of the Athletes of the Year candidates and the Athletes of the Year winners. So, Larry, let me put you on the spot. If we were to say to you, who do you think is the Athlete of the Year for girls?
Man, this is so tough. But this Addie Fry was dominant. Now, Tori was dominant. There was a lot of domination out there. But Addie Fry was dominant to the next level, I believe. That's just fate. And I didn't get to see it live, but she was dominant at the plate and on the mound.
And keep in mind, everybody out there, that I am putting Larry on the spot now. I didn't give him any clue that I was going to be asking these questions. And same with boys. Who would you pick for boys?
Again, we have so many dominant athletes, but nobody that was as dominant in four sports as Jay Rona, in my view. I'm glad I don't get a vote. I want everybody to know that I don't get a vote here, but that's my opinion. But just to be mentioned in this group is an indication that you're special, obviously special. Gold medal winners at the WPIAL level, at the state level, champions at the team level. Man, that's impressive stuff. And it doesn't happen often. And the amount of work that's necessary to get it done is impressive. And as I said, and then to be a scholar athlete, not only be a great athlete, but to be a great student, makes it even more equally impressive. So I am so impressed with everybody that you mentioned here.
And I guess I will catch Larry Kelly's fly ball for him and say the one phrase that you did not mention throughout all of this: they all brought laser focus.
Well, and mental toughness. You want to be a success, not only in sports, but in life. You better be mentally tough and laser focused. We talked about it all the time, both at Newcastle and at Shenango. And I find, we just had the 10-year reunion for the Newcastle State Championship team up at Coach Belundo's house last week. And what brought a big smile to my face was all of the success that these players have had after their high school career in real life, the success that they've had. And I believe in part it's because of what they learned, through athletics and, what they learned in how to prepare. Everybody wants to be great. Everybody wants to be a champion, but not everybody's mentally tough and laser focused enough to put the work in to accomplish those goals. And if you do it as an athlete, you will do it once you cross that bridge from adolescence to adulthood and you have a real job. And as I said, it brought a smile to my face just to see these guys and all of the success that they've achieved.
Mm-hmm. All right, Larry, that looks like everything. We've talked about the boys' candidates and the girls' candidates, so we can put you down for a prediction of Addie Fry and Jay Rona, I believe you said, right?
Yeah, but man, I'm glad I don't have to pick. This is really tough. I'd have to really sit down and look at all of their accomplishments. And, some of these athletes were two-time gold medalists, in track and field as juniors and seniors. And, they too dominated their sport.
Yep. Cream of the crop, you might say.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. Cream of the crop. Cream of the crop.
We got a few weeks to go before high school football starts. Are you gearing up for that?
Yeah, I am. I'll be ready. In fact, I'll be ready. I may make a comeback in hoops. I don't know. I've been talking about Coach Belundo maybe coming back as a volunteer assistant because I miss it. Now, when you're a volunteer, though, you don't have to show up all the time. You're a game coach. You don't have to show up all the practices. So he kind of looked at me cross-eyed, but I think he's thinking about it.
Oh, boy. Yeah. When I look at my phone and I see a text message from him, I'll know what he's texting about.
Right. Well, I told him nobody argues with you anymore. There are no arguments on the sideline like him and I used to have because I can't keep my mouth shut. Oh,
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Larry, good seeing you. Good talking to you. We will do this again in a few weeks so we can try and improve on our second place standing in the Keystone Awards that we won recently.
Listen, we make a joke about it, but there's a lot of people who are vying for that recognition. And, I'm like the sidecar on this. I give all the credit to you. And I know Pete, our director, Sirianni, you guys, again, to quote Reggie Jackson, are the straws that stir the drink. So most of that credit goes to you and Pete. Congratulations.
Well, we credit you as well because we can't do it without you, Larry. That's for sure. So you bring the coaching expertise to it because we lean on you for coaching type questions. So that's for sure.
Well, thank you, my brother. Yeah, we'll be starting up soon. Won't be long, my man.
Won't be long. All right, he's Larry Kelly. I am Ron Poniewasz, sports editor at the Newcastle News, and thank you for joining us. We will see you real soon for Gridiron in the fall. Thank you, everybody.